everybody. Welcome to your video series on an introduction to sociology. The topic for this video is social stratification. So let's get started. Well, what is social stratification? All societies stratify groups of people from top to bottom based on a variety of factors. In the United States, the stratification system is largely based on three factors: income, how much money a person makes; education, how much schooling a person has had; and career, what type of work that person performs. Rewards are then given out by society in the form of money, how much money you can expect to make; power, how much power you can expect to have, and by power we mean the ability to get your way, to get people to do what you want them to do; and then lastly, prestige, the amount of respect that you can expect will be accorded to you by society based on your income, your education, and your career. Now, let's think about the United States in particular. Who do you think is at the top of our stratification system? Again, based on income, education, and career. And who's left on the bottom based on income, education, and career? In terms of folks at the bottom of our stratification system, if you said something like field work, you would be correct. Field work does not pay very much. It does not require a lot of education in order to perform those duties. Other kinds of folks that are going to expect to be at the bottom of our stratification system are those in janitorial services, some of the fast food, service industry type positions can expect to be at the bottom in terms of income and education requirements. Compared to the people at the top, we can say things like doctors can expect to be at the top, lawyers, CEOs. These folks require a lot of education. They're going to be paid a lot of money, or they're going to earn a lot of money. And as a result of our stratification system looking similar to this, we can expect then that lawyers, CEOs, and doctors are going to have a lot more power in society. They're going to have a lot more respect in our society than the folks at the bottom, represented by things like janitorial, fast food, field work. Those kinds of things are not going to make a lot of money. They're not going to have a lot of power, and they're not going to have a lot of respect, even though those jobs are essential in terms of getting us the food that we need and getting us the services that we expect at just a very basic level. Now, this chapter on social stratification connects very nicely to theme 2, thinking about opportunity and motivation. Who has opportunity in our society? How does a person get to be a doctor? Who has motivation in our society? Who's motivated to undertake the kinds of education and requirements and years of schooling and practice that is required to become a doctor, versus the bottom side of that stratification system. Fieldwork, janitorial kinds of jobs aren't going to require quite as much input to get to that level. Now, this isn't to say that people at the bottom are lazy. That it is to say that they may lack the opportunity to get into the kinds of positions that would move them up the stratification system. It's also not to say that all doctors, lawyers, and CEOs are hardworking and motivated. Some of those folks are handed opportunities to become doctors or lawyers. If their parents, for example, are a doctor or a lawyer, they may not have to try as hard to get into those positions because their parents are going to lay a lot of that groundwork for them. Now, let's talk about the difference between wealth and income. Wealth is what you are worth. All of your assets together, whether you have real estate holdings, stocks, bonds, all the things that you own, Added together are your wealth. Income, on the other hand, is simply how much you make. What are you bringing home a week based on the kind of work you're doing in our society? People can have a lot of wealth and not have any income coming in, and people can have a lot of income and not really have a lot of wealth. Chris Rock says, wealth is not about having a lot of money, it's about having a lot of options. We could also say a lot of opportunity. The more money, the more wealth a person has, the more opportunities they can expect to have in our society. Who are these folks? Well, if you said the Titanic survivors or some of the Titanic survivors, you would be correct. This is a photo that was taken as these folks were being rescued after the disaster and being rescued by the Carpathia, who came to get these people out of the water. And if you know the story of the Titanic, we can assume that the majority of the folks in this picture are from the first class. The Titanic, unfortunately, sad story that it was, is a really good example of what this chapter is all about. Looking at who's on top of the stratification system, who's on bottom, what kinds of opportunities are going to come to those folks at the top that may be denied to the people at the bottom. We know that when the ship hit the iceberg, the first people who were afforded the opportunity to survive and escape were those in first class. Of course, there was also a gender expectation at that time. So women, first class women, were given the first opportunity to get onto a lifeboat. And we know that a lot of first class people were able to survive, whereas a lot of the third class people perished. This isn't to say that all first class people survived. Some of them chose to stay behind or to stay on the ship for a variety of reasons, but at least they were given the option, they were given the opportunity to get into a lifeboat. Not all third class people perished. Some of them survived. They were able to overcome these astronomical odds that were against them and work their way onto a boat. That is the motivation piece. Most first class people got the opportunity, again, theme 2, and some third class people were so motivated that they were able to get off the boat. But we can't say that we expected all third class people to be that motivated. A lot of third class people understood the stratification system at the time, stepped aside, waited their turn, and hoped against hope that there would be a lifeboat ready for them when their time came. And of course, unfortunately, there were not enough lifeboats and there were not enough places for those third class people to get off the ship. And so the majority of them perished. That's going to do it for now. Thanks for checking in. Never stop learning, and remember, sociology is everywhere.